Good day, fellow South Africans. Today I'm going to start a South African conspiracy. The conspiracy is that all South Africans is being taken for a massive scam. Now this is based on my own research, and also it is based on what I have read and seen and how I have connected the dots. So for every South African who watches this video, I'm a South African, my name is Gian Roberts, and I'm going to give you a reason to why taking land without compensation, land expropriation without compensation is taking place in South Africa. And I'm also going to tell you why there is racial tensions and also being talk of civil war in South Africa. Now, to start off with why everything is taking place the way it is. This has taken place since 2013, but in fact, if we follow the money, as anything in life, always follow the money if you want to find out what's really happening. We can go back to all the way to 1960. In 1960 already, oil and gas companies was very interested in South Africa and what we have reserved under our earth as gas here in South Africa. Now, we did not have, companies did not have technology since the 1960s to actually see and look at what's under the ground. So in 2008, they came back to South Africa and they discovered that there's a vast amount of gas underneath the earth here in South Africa, especially in the Klein Karoo or the whole of Karoo. There's a big plate that traps a lot of gas. Now, I don't know if you are familiar with fracking, but I want you to research and investigate what fracking is. I want you to really see for yourself that this is part of the oil industry within this world. That's fracking. Fracking is where you extract gas through the means of using a lot of water and chemicals and processing it and getting it up from underground, and then you have gas, which is an energy resource. Now, when you do things like this, like any oil industry out there, you make billions of dollars. You make a lot of money because the earth is currently run by oil and a military complex. So, what did Shell and 4 other oil giants realize when they have been looking at the gas in South Africa? That there is a few obstacles. First of all, the governments of South Africa, the ANC, is super interested, and they've already basically said, yes, let's frack the Karoo, let's get that gas out, and let's boost the economy of South Africa, let's create jobs in South Africa, let's bring the South African economy up through fracking, which can bring a good industry according to Shell, and now they're selling it to our governments for the next 10, 25 years. And it can create, as they say, 700,000 jobs. It can bring it plus minus 80 billion rand a year to South Africa, never mind what the companies themselves are making. And it can really create small businesses and businesses that flow out from them, bringing business here and taking out gas from underneath the grounds. So, let's get into the conspiracy of how the hell does this have anything to do with taking land without any compensation in South Africa? Well, some of the hurdles that Shell and the government has faced to go ahead with starting fracking, extracting the gas from the earth here in South Africa is people. People has been standing up and saying, no, we do not want to frack here in South Africa. Fracking is extremely dangerous and very harmful for the environment. And also, it will poison our water. It will use a lot of fresh water, water that is a scarcity currently within this country, and it will put it all to the oil industry and getting gas out. And we already have a lack in so many natural resources that we cannot afford to also now destroy our environments, ecosystems, and also our rivers, and possibly have earthquakes happening in South Africa. So people have been saying no to Shell and no to the government. People have been standing up. People have been saying we do not want to do fracking. We are in a new and different era. We're in an era of going green. We're in an era of using solar panels, using alternative energy sources. Fracking is an old fossil industry. We don't want that. But the amount of money, okay, now you have to understand the amount of money you can make. Come on, guys, look at the money. You can make so much money with fracking. Not just South Africa, not just the citizens. Everyone can make money. Now, what do we know? The ANC, the current governing body of South Africa that's running the government, they are under a lot of pressure. They have been corrupted since after Mandela's time, and they've been under a lot of pressure of helping their own people, the people that vote for them. And they have not done that for many, many years. They've been so corrupt, pocketing the money in their own pockets, that the people that has been in poverty, that hasn't had a decent education, they've been putting the government under pressure, and the government is looking for a way out, a quick way out. How can we get a quick way out? If we frack. If we frack, we create 700,000 jobs at a go, we make money for the country and economy, and we can boost everything and everyone, and we can get out of the mistakes that we've made. Phew, it is a home run for us all if we just quickly frack there and frack there and frack there and frack there. There is fracking sites all over South Africa already sited. Oil companies have already put their sticks down and saying we want to frack here and frack here and frack here and frack here. But they have a few obstacles. What is these obstacles? It's obvious obstacles. It's got to do with land expropriation without compensation. It's got to do with property. It's got to do with owners of land. These companies cannot come in. The government cannot come in if people own property, if people own land. Otherwise, they have to buy that land. Otherwise, they have to give people a compensating amount of money for the land to take the land, and that's too much of a slow process. That's going to take years and years for them to get all the land they need, because these oil companies are requesting. Now, I'm going to give you an example. There's 5 of them. Each one has already requested 300,000 square kilometers of land. That's just of the one sightings they've already requested. That's 3 million hectares of land that they want to frack. Now 3 million times 5 gives you 15 million hectares of land already, not just on their first sightings that they want to frack within. Then there's a mention of another 4.1 million hectares that is being looked at for fracking. That's a lot of land, guys. And now, if you can imagine 3 million hectares of land, how many people live on that land? How many people own property on that land? Thousands, guaranteed. Okay, in some areas maybe not, because it's very dry, there's not a lot of people living there, but I can guarantee you there is people. There is rural developments, there is small holdings, small farms, there's small communities living in that amount of space. People have livestock, people have growing their own vegetables. You have people that has been there for centuries, and the only way that you're going to get rid of those people is by changing the constitution. If you change the constitution to where land expropriation without compensation is possible, then you don't need people's consent. You don't need people to say yes or no. You don't even give a damn about what people say, because the constitution is now on your side as the governing body to just take and give as you want. So now you are going to benefit as the governing body these oil giants who can come in and say we need 15 million hectares of land so we can frack. And all the government has to do is chase off everyone on the land. Doesn't matter if you're black, white, colored, pink, yellow, orange. If these oil giants need that land, they're going to remove you, because they want to make money for themselves in their pockets as the governing bodies, the politicians, and they want to get out of trouble for what they haven't been doing for the past 24 years and being corrupt and taking the money for themselves. So this is a quick fix, a quick way out, by making the land state-owned so that giant oil companies can come in and they can just take the land quickly and get it done with to make money and boost the economy. Why do you think our governing bodies are so confident that this new change in our constitution will be an economic boost? It will be a positive for our country. They're not concerned with agriculture, and agriculture being a main income, because once we have gas, once we are part of the oil game, once we're in that oil game of we are now a country that produces something in the oil industry and we make billions of that, we don't need to rely on the agriculture industry for that long. So we can get rid of the farmers. Yeah, you're going to have a scarcity of food, but you can just buy food in with the money you're making from fracking the earth as a possible solution. So let's look at it. The ANC realized this back in 2013. They decided, yes, we need to frack. But environmentalists, educated people stood up and said, no, Because we can see in 20, 25 years, you're going to destroy this country. You're going to destroy the environments, other possible avenues of creating jobs. You're going to destroy the actual physical environment. You might have jobs for 10 years, 15 years, but it's actually not going to benefit as many people as you think. It might boost the economy, but it's not going to boost everyone's lives. It might create a better picture, but it's not a better picture. It's an illusion. But do you think oil giants give a shit about the environment? No, they don't. They care about their pocket. Do you think your government cares about the environment and people and all this? No, they don't. So, how do you get all the people in a democratic system to change the constitution and to vote for land expropriation without compensation? You divide and conquer. It's a very good old technique. And what does the oil giants know? What does the ANC know? What does the EFF, the BLF, what do they all know? What does the DA know? What do they all know? That we have a very diverse history and we have a very sensitive history, and that is used against us, our people, in a very, very harmful way. It's literally as if a wound has been rubbed and forced and salt has been poured over it, a countrywide wound, to get everyone heightened up and fight each other, to divide us as a people among each other, so that while we're fighting, in the background they're quickly changing policies. They're quickly changing everything that can fit for oil industries to come in, and they're getting your vote. They're getting everyone's vote because they're using racism, hate. They're using conflict among people to get their way. If you don't believe me, go do your research on fracking. Go do your research on the ANC stance on fracking and go see what has been stopping them from doing fracking in a very big scale here in South Africa. It's the constitution and properties. Because everyone that owns a property, everyone that understands the constitution, everyone that cares about the very land they're born on says no to fracking. But if you remove those rights from people, no one can stand up for South Africa, because the state will own everything and the state will be able to decide what comes in and what goes out. So it's not about black and white. That is what they're selling us. That's what they're selling every South African, because that way they get the majority vote, because they know they're turning the majority against the minority, and the majority will then vote for what is presented to them by their government bodies as a possible solution. But that possible solution isn't for them, the people, as the majority. It is for, guess who? Money. It is for the oil companies to come in and to take our land and to start fracking and start a business here. And most of that gas will probably not even come to us as South Africans. They'll be selling it in Europe and overseas and everyone. If you don't believe me, go look at what happens in our Eastern brothers and sisters in the East. War, civil war, terrorists, all of this arrives as soon as another country intervenes with them and creates civil war, creates terrorism. And what happens in the background? Go check every single war. Oil is being taken. Resources from the country is being taken. They make sure that they first divide and conquer the people amongst the people. And then they implement new rules, new policies, new constitutional changes. And they bring in these companies to just devour the country of the resources and to run away with billions in profit, and where their own countries, a different country, benefits from all the activities, while the people are still today in war in a destructive, broken down country, leaving the resources wide open for any first world country or country that has the means to come in and just take the resources, because the country itself is so divided. The country has no way of protecting themselves, no way of standing up. And South Africa is one of the strongest points still in Africa. And South Africa is the only people that can still stand together and still change this narrative that's been going on for centuries as a globalist system. It's not a racist system, it's not a colonial system, it's a globalist money system. That's what's ruling everything. And that is what is destroying everything. And South Africa can still stand up if we stop this nonsense of separation and conquering each other while someone else is conquering all of us. And we can say no, because we have still a strong economy, a strong people. We still have educated people. We still have a good infrastructure. We still have everything that is okay for us to stand up and rise above what's happening. But if we get divided, we're going to end up like every other African country, like every other Eastern country, which is in destruction. Because we're going to start fighting each other, hating each other, all for what? For lies. that has been sold to us, illusions that have been sold to us, and they use real issues. Poverty is real. Land disposition is real. Education that is of the lowest standards is real. Food scarcity is real. Inequality is real, but we're not going to solve it by looking behind the scenes and follow the money. We're going to solve that as people together, creating our own way forward. Politicians are always in the business of politics, pulling ticks. They're a bunch of fucking ticks that suck the life out of the people. You know a tick. You've taken a tick off. They're pulling a tick. We have to pull these ticks out and stop letting them suck us dry for their own purposes and agendas. And I don't care who you say you vote for. If you take a look at the ANC, who broke away from the ANC and became the EFF? Right after 2013, when they said, we definitely want fracking, but fracking never happened. In 2013, who evolved? EFF. Go look. The ANC knew that they cannot tell their people straight up, hey, we have to take the land and we have to get rid of the minorities and blame the whites and do this and this. They knew they needed someone to first go and test the waters and to take that action upon themselves and take all the punches and hits from all the other parties so the ANC can still have a good face. And they created the EFF to become that punching bag and to become that bag that punches back, to get this black on white thing going where we fight each other, while these oil companies, they don't give a shit about race, they don't give a shit about our past and history. All they care about is getting to our land and getting gas out of our land, which is worth billions of dollars. And I mean, it's a big industry. And we have a lot of gas underneath our earth here in South Africa, and they want to get to it. They're going to get through to it by us as people, divided, fighting amongst each other, killing each other, and creating civil wars amongst each other based on color, based on bullshit reasons. They are literally promoting in the media openly our political parties. They are creating hate. Why are they creating such points where we keep focusing on each other and we're missing completely what's happening in the background? So please take a look at what's happening in the East and realize it's happening exactly the same here. Are we just too blind to see, and we think we're so special and different that no one will try this with our country? This is a conspiracy theory from Gyan. I hope you can hear what I'm saying and maybe investigate for yourself and get your own facts together. I'm not telling you to trust me or look at me. I'm just breaking the con of the spear that we're seeing, because that spear we're currently seeing is sold to us. And it's the only thing we see from media, for news, for newspapers. So let's con that spear and see something different and look at the world a different way and realize that we are united in our common basic needs, not in our differences. Thank you very much.